Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of SuperFantaFi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the series premiere of Lazarus. Great series premiere. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. Well, first and foremost, this is created by Shinichiro Watanabe. I'm not familiar with some of the other projects he's created. I looked him up. I actually added him to my list just to kind of check him out for future reference. But obviously, best known for being an anime director. Obviously, some examples of that being like probably the ones he's most well known for are Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, which I guess there's a lot of like elements, especially if you look at it from a directional standpoint. That I'm like, oh, I don't know why I never correlated Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo when I should have. But yeah, obviously you see a lot of that in this. Obviously, this feels very Cowboy Bebop-ish, especially with some of like the more jazz sequences to like the score in some of the sequences, especially the Axel stuff. So, and obviously you see a lot of direct parallels to some extent to a little Mugen, a little Jin. I mean, not Jin, sorry, Spike. I'm sure there's other characters you can make like a parallel to Jin. I guess Doug could almost be your Jin parallel in a lot of ways. But either way, I'm going on a tangent. I should also point out, the name that also caught my attention was Chad Stahelski as action supervisor. I was like, wait, is that who I'm thinking it is? I looked up his yes. He's a stuntman, but he also is a director. He's best known for directing all four of the John Wick movies. Even though I've never seen them, obviously the thing they're lauded for is their action choreography being nuts. But still, I was like, oh, that's crazy. I'm curious how that translates for like making an animated project. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's also fascinating too because like it was announced they are making like an anime kind of prequel John Wick movie. So I'm like, oh, that's just, I'm curious how involved he's going to be in that project. But yeah, he's directed all four of the movies. He did not direct the ballerina. I'm going on tangents and stuff like that. But I was like, oh, like I said, I'm just curious, like from the behind the scenes standpoint, what is that like directing action sequences for an anime type of thing? But yeah. I went into this series knowing the premise behind it, and obviously we get that kind of dump at the beginning of the episode that, hey, Dr. Skinner made a drug, and this drug was a painkiller, and it widespread around the world, the drug that's going to save the world. But 3 years later, it's kind of announced, yeah, this drug is actually going to kill everybody, so you need to try and find me in the next 30 days. Because the first 30 days is when the first people who started taking the drug start dying. So you might want to jump on that immediately. Because he's coming from the perspective of, he's like, kind of almost like, even though like he's kind of known to be this peaceful person, it's almost like this weird thing of like he's trying to test humanity whether or not they're worthy of survival, because he's just like, look at what we've done to each other, done to the world. And he made it specifically sound like this was stuff happening specifically like after was it Hapna, the drug. And I don't know, because I mean, obviously this has been implemented well in advance, so he went into this with this intention, because like he had disappeared. I thought it was interesting because you look at that opening, it looked like, not maybe that was someone else, but it looked like someone's getting obliterated by bullets. So I'm like, I wonder, is this someone carrying on his legacy? Because I wonder if the real Dr. Skinner is dead. So interesting too, because like he was kind of this world's savior, but now he's being allocated as like this world's devil in a lot of way, because like people are panicking, there are riots. Pharmaceutical companies are being burned to the ground. I mean, you can understand people's concern and rage. Just like, how dare you give us this drug and you guys were completely unaware that it's killing us? I mean, this thing is spread around the world. This is a worldwide, I don't even know if epidemic, disaster would be the right word, because I'm like, pandemic or epidemic, I don't know, because that's more so disease related, so, and virus related, so I don't know if this would technically count in those categories. So that's fascinating. Like I said, like he gave his explanation, but it's still kind of wild because, like I said, it just seems like he felt like humanity was kind of needed. I don't know if this is his own version of a course correction, because he's like, right, if you're able to save humanity, like he's like, I'm trying to take my hands off the wheel. He's like, basically in the coming days, like, and I guess in a very biblical sense of the end of days. He's like, I'm the seventh trumpet. I'm not the one dictating this. I've set everything in motion. It's up to whoever it is to potentially find me and find a cure to all of this. They will be the one that determines humanity's safety. I'm also curious how many of our protagonists have taken it, because like the what I've saw for the trailers made it seem like they're not as desperate as everyone else, but I guess they have their own motivation. Because I was wondering what brought this crew together. Like, well, we're kind of getting Axel's introduction this episode because it turns out he was in prison for 888 years, multiple consecutive life sentences. I'm like, what the fuck did you do to get 888 years, dude? What the hell was that? I was like, are you a killer or like what? The fact is that Hirsch would go out of her way to bring you upon the squad. It's like, there must be something more to your crimes where it's like, they're not that bad. I mean, not less like you stole a shit ton of money or just like you were just like a proficient criminal getting away with crime after crime and it all finally caught up to you. Like, I don't know, sentences like that feels like murder level, like you killed a whole bunch of people sentences type of thing. But like I said, it could just be like, it could be some high class crimes that just he committed so many it equaled up to that. Who knows? We didn't get that explanation, but Hirsch came to Axel because she wants to bring him into the fold, but Axel goes, nah, I'm very good at breaking out of prisons, and proceeds to do a pretty dope escape sequence, which I thought was great. I mean, went out of his way. He's not expressly killing anybody, but I mean, he's choking people out, kicking, and guy's very like flippy, obviously, very agile and nimble. Obviously got a very interesting cockiness to him because he knows he's hot shit, but manages to get away, which I thought was interesting because even Hirsch was like, wow, I guess even she didn't calculate on him doing that, because she's like, yeah, I'm literally getting you out of jail free card. But it's like, I think he's probably kind of more of a free spirit in regards of, I know if I take this deal with you, there's no guarantee you won't screw me over and toss me back in prison after you get what you want, because nothing in this life comes for free. I know there's going to be stipulations and conditions, so it's like, I'd rather get out on my own terms. That way I don't owe anybody. I'm just doing my own thing. Because I'm like, why wasted? I mean, because he even said like usually the only people that visit him are hitmen or lawyers, which I'm almost wondering like, well, because he brought that up, I'm wondering, is he like, is that what he is in prison for? Like, I was like, oh, you must have murdered a whole bunch of people. I thought like, my mind immediately was like, oh, if you killed a whole bunch of people, it must be like a serial killer thing, which, I was about to say like, not unless you're a proficient hitman. And then I'm like, but then like, still put you in that serial killer category, whether you're getting paid for it or not. But I wonder why would people be sending hitmen after him? Because maybe it's a thing of, too much about certain organizations. So like, yeah, we got to nip that in the bud, nip you in the bud, so that you don't like reveal anything. So maybe that's what that is. But like I said, either way, manages to escape. I love that bit with him and the cop, where the cop's like, yo, what's up with that fashion? Is that the new trendy thing? Or are you actually an escape convict? He's like, what? No, who would be dumb enough to do that? And he's like, oh, you're totally right, buddy. Oh, riots are happening. Make sure you get home. And he immediately gets the contact about escape convict. What? Where? And I love that if you look in the sequence where he's in a store looking at the officer outside and kind of laughing, you could see him outside the glass, like looking around. And then like, by the time he figures out Axel's already got a new change of clothes and left his prison uniform on the mannequin, the guy's like, oh man. It's like, yeah, you better hope no one finds out you just fumbled that so hard like that. But yeah, like we had the other members of our team. Doug, see him, like I said, the calm, cool, and collected one. The girl is Chris. I don't remember the kid's name. I mean, I said kid, but I don't know, like, because I was like, I don't think he's a high schooler. I think he seems like he's a college person. I saw a name in the credits. I think it said Leland, so I don't know if that was his name or that was someone else. I don't remember his name, but yeah, he's in the middle of class being like, yeah, I think I'm going to go home. And the guy's like, why? He's like, I don't know. We just got a ticking time clock on us all. And I'm just kind of like, I mean, once again, who knows how many of the protagonists have taken this stuff? And obviously Lazarus seems to have known about this before it all went down. It seemed like it was a squad already put together. So I guess they got word first, and maybe it was just a thing of society's only now finding out about it. But the question is, like, how long has Lazarus as a group, because Hirsch has a boss that she answers to, how long have they known? Because it seems like the government's probably been keeping hush hush on this for a while. So maybe they've been trying to find, like, maybe they only got the smallest window of notice, or, because like I said, the squad was already kind of a team ahead of time considering everything. So if I remember correctly, the first look at this, like, you can find it online on Adult Swim's YouTube channel, was like, I believe it was that whole action sequence, like after he got to like was it the station he was at? Like that whole escape sequence. I don't remember if it was all of it. It was quite a bit of that sequence. I just can't remember if it was that entire sequence. But I do remember some of that, especially like the first person rolling. That whole sequence gave me like Mirror Edge vibes, parkouring and stuff like that. So guys kind of got like a little bit of a daredevil element to him. You know, whole man with no fear, like willing to kind of leap and bound everywhere, you know, with little hesitation. It's just like, yeah, like the confidence in which he moves is almost like kind of doesn't fear death in that regard. That's why I'm like, what's your deal, dude? Like, we once again, we got all these sequences, but we don't know who you are. And like I said, like, where were you going to go? Was it just for the sake of, because I don't know, like, was it for the sake of your freedom, just like I said, not having any strings attached to your, like, getting out of prison? You know, you're just like, I want to do my own thing. Like, where were you going to go? And probably, he definitely feels like he's like, maybe he has things planned out, but I'm also curious if you a very fly by the seat of your pants type of character or not. That was interesting too, because they have like weapons loaded and ready. Because like Chris is literally shooting at him. Even the guy was like, "Yeah," like Doug was like, "Yeah, you're allowed to fire. Just make sure you don't hit other people and don't blow anything up." Which she managed not to blow anything up. But I'm like, all the property damage you're causing trying to shoot him, like. Once again, they're probably like a government-funded organization, maybe, so they probably have a little more carte blanche than other people would. I don't know if it's going to be like a thing of like, oh, you're like I said, because I think I've seen in a trailer, like, they clash with other, like, law enforcement organizations. So, like, they are definitely kind of like a secret group that it's like they have probably like a lot of leeway because, like I said, they're probably, I don't know, they might be privately funded, but it feels like it's probably a government organization, just not in the more solidified type like any law enforcement organization. They're probably kind of like their own little secret squad. But after all that, though, I do love that after all this chasing, after getting away, you were cornered on a building. They led you just right where they wanted you. I guess that's where the whole, like, Chris shooting at him was kind of fun. Because, like, yeah, it pushes him where we need him to be. And you're cornered. Doug's got a gun pointed on you. You're like, oh, yeah, like, make sure they put it on my grave that Doug, whatever your name is, shot me in the back. That coward Doug shot me in the back. He's like, you're trying to provoke me. He's like, you could always try and take a fly, you know, but normally people can't. He's like, yeah, but never really been about what people normally can't do. So it's like, well, used the flying drone that the dude had to his advantage and land it. And it's like, oh, that was all great. And then Chris casually walks up and was like, wow, you just got played. Because I guess, like, he never got a good look at Chris when she was shooting at him. I think she was also wearing her bike helmet at the time, so he didn't even piece it together. I was like, how is she going to get you? Like, I didn't know if she was going to shoot you with a tranquilizer. It's like, nah, she essentially used her bracelet to tase you, so, yeah. And so he kind of is dreaming a little bit, wakes up thinking it was a dream, and then sees Elaine, who's kind of like your cliche, like, hacker but shy, bashful person. I wonder if she's going to be their tech support type of character. And she's just looking at him, but she's just kind of like, oh, I'm looking. And I wonder what, because, like, it looked like those were, like, barbershop seats that they were sitting in. Well, he woke up in. So I don't know if it's like, oh, you have a secret base, like, underneath, or that just ends up being their outpost because it's abandoned. There's a lot about, obviously, this world we're kind of jumping into, none the wiser about how everything goes. But he has the bracelet on now. I'm like, damn. So I'm like, is this supposed to be like a Suicide Squad situation? Like, what's going to be the motivation behind him working with you guys? Once again, like, it's probably a thing of he never took Hapna, so he didn't have to worry about it. But how many of the other characters did? I mean, it's like, are we really here to be heroes? Even though, like, they themselves are kind of like, well, at least Axel is like, yeah, we're kind of heroes saving the day. Like, we're the world's heroes because we're here to save the day. But it's like, what's going to be the reason? I mean, why are the others here? Why is Axel going to be willing to take the job? It might be a thing of your hand is forced now. Like I said, a la Suicide Squad. I don't know if the bracelet's going to electrocute you. Like, another parallel and anime thing to think about. Is it going to be like the manga and anime? But, like, is it going to be like the Inuyasha thing of the beads around his neck? All Kagome has to do is say sit, and that puts Inuyasha in his place. I'm curious if it works like that, where it's going to be like, oh, might not go full Suicide Squad and blow you up, but maybe it's going to electrocute you every time you deny an order type of thing, and you try to take it off, it electrocutes you. So, I don't know. I was also wondering, I was like, there's no way they're going to do something shady like give him the drug and now it's like, oh, now you're amply motivated to find a cure because now you're on the ticking clock. That'd be super effed up, but you know, it wouldn't. They're desperate enough because no one can make drugs fast enough. I also thought it was interesting, like there was also that late night show reference. I was like, that looks a lot like David Letterman, that character design. So I was like, I don't know if that's supposed to be him. Kind of sounded a little Letterman-esque as well, so I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, just like I said, interesting first episode. Nice sequences, nicely animated. Obviously dropping us in the middle of everything, kind of at the start of things, but also in the middle of things, because like we don't really know much about this world, but also like we know what the situation is and how the world is going to respond to it and how they're going to go about even finding a guy who's going to be the most important person in the world to try and find, because don't have enough time to make a cure in like 30 days. And every episode we're going to have that ticker, because it's like, yeah, Axel was knocked out for the entire day, so now they're down to 29 days left. So it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce around timelines too, because you know, some episodes are probably going to cover a couple days, and even more days will probably pass in between episodes, because I don't know how many episodes this season is going to be. So the first number I saw pop up was 13, so 13 episodes. So it's going to be interesting to see how much time passes in between each episode. You know it's going to come down to the wire, but it's going to be the thing of, will they make it in time to save the first wave of people who took the drugs? I mean, even if you find a cure, like how do you mass disseminate that to everyone that took the drug pretty early on? I mean, how much time does the next wave of people have? Like, it just depends on when in this drug's life cycle you took it, you know? So it's going to be fascinating to see how this all shakes up, how this all plays out, and get to know our squad better and understanding what this is all about and how we got to where we are and why we are where we are. I mean, once again, Skinner gave us the explanation, but kind of diving into that further is going to be interesting to see. So I'm excited to see what else this anime has in store for us. Obviously, there's no source material for this because it's just an anime. So, like, no one's going to have any idea what to expect from the series. Everyone's going to have their theories, but we'll all be kind of finding out at the same time as it progresses. So, but really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.